The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
It's the most important fight of the century against the fossil fuels oligarchy, and I think that we're going to win, but it will take all of us standing up and standing together. I think this is the deciding issue here. This is the one where we all have to get together and stay in solidarity with the folks at Standing Rock and stop this pipeline and stop fossil fuels, keep it in the ground, and switch to alternatives to solar, to wind, and other alternative forms of energy. Now is the time, and this is the issue where we all have to take a stand.
Save Maumee 2014, and I made a documentary. Rowan is in it. He survived that, and so he's going to have a lot to say. Our topic today is Standing Rock versus Anthony Wayne, my favorite guy, Anthony Wayne, who really is a war criminal in my opinion. But Standing Rock is primarily Native Americans standing up for all of us, for our environment, clean water, for our land, for everything that's important versus money. So I'm just going to turn this over to Rowan Green. And Rowan brought a lot of signs. So anybody would like to hold up a sign, please do. And hey, and also speak. After Rowan talks, feel free to ask him questions and add your comments. Rowan.
Everybody give it up for Terry Dorn, an amazing gentleman. Hello. I pretty much got all of my introduction summed up right there. I'm Rowan Green. I was born in this town into a community of activists and water protectors, and I'm happy to say that I think I've continued that tradition in the same way that it was meant to be, in a good way, pretty much my whole life. I just returned with a group of 10 people back from Standing Rock. A whole bunch of those people came from Fort Wayne. Some of those people came from the Renaissance festivals that I spend so much of my time at, traveling around the country. And we went there 2 times now. The first time, I went because I felt called. I felt like I needed to be there. I felt like our community of wonderful people who care about the environment and care about taking care of the planet in a good way needed to be represented. I felt like we needed to be there and have our voice singing with the choir of amazing voices against this horrible atrocity that's been going through and raping our land for years, generations. And I learned a lot of things in North Dakota. I learned that this runs far deeper than just these pipelines that we have to stop. I mean, we do have to stop them. Stopping the pipeline is more than just important. It's necessary if we want the heartland of America to continue to be a lush, green, producing, healthy, symbiotic creature with all the things that are living there within. All of the creatures, all of the plants, the soil, the humans, all of those depend upon the water that is fed by the aquifer that they are currently trying to put the pipeline on top of in North Dakota. And this entire movement, all of the people that are standing up and realizing that we are part of the planet, we need the planet to be alive in order for us to be alive. They're all really amazing that there are so many people standing up right now. But I guess the thing that I brought back that first time from Standing Rock is that this prayer, this prayer we're all holding space for, is about far more than just water and water rights and water protection. It's about ending the strip farming that is all across Middle America, all across America in general, because this till and plant and till and plant and till and plant cycle has taken what 200 years ago in Indiana was 2 to 4 feet of thick, dark soil all the way down to the bare clay. And that is just as important as the water. I'm not saying the water is less important, but it is all important. And the thing that would change the level of the soil, the thing that would restore the soil, is instead of doing the strip farming techniques, we would need to remove fences to allow plants to grow, to allow herds to eat the plants and produce their feces, which produce nitrogen, which help all of the other plants decompose and turn into soil. No stripping away the greenery so that we have time to till and plant another season so we can get one more crop of GMO corn, because that's all that will grow in clay. What we need is to protect all of the mother, and the water is a very, very important part of that. So I'm glad that there are so many beautiful people here that have shown up to represent Fort Wayne, Indiana, and how we are ready to be part of the change, to be part of the planet in a good way.
Why was it starting? Why did they pick that area first place? Why are they going through the Sioux Nation?
Rephrase your question. Why did the Sioux Nation pick that place to make their stand, or why did the DAPL pick that place to go through? Well, the DAPL picked that place to go through because Bismarck said, we're not going to permit you to put your pipeline any closer to our city because it could endanger our water and it could make our land unlivable and poison. So instead they decided to put it through the indigenous land. And why did the indigenous decide that place to make their stand? Because that is at the river, that is at the Cannonball, that is the front line, that is where this stand needs to be made, because if that pipeline goes underneath that river feeds that aquifer feeds a third of the heartland of America. And that's just unacceptable. Any other questions?
Talk a little bit about your stay there, the people
I definitely will. I have many, many, many beautiful, beautiful experiences that I'd love to share with everyone, but I could stand up here and talk for days about those. What I'd like to talk about is what we can do in our own personal lives. Talk about looking in instead of looking out for how we can make a change in the world. Look in for how we can be the change in the world. And that's super easy. That is, hold a space in your heart of prayer for the world to be the way it should be, with no harm happening to the world and no harm happening to the people in the world. And the way you do this isn't by going, oh, please world, please let the world be a good place. It's by looking at yourself and understanding who you are and how you are who you are and what has brought you to this point, and seeing all of the things that you could do for all of the people in your life to make their lives just a little better. Because we aren't individually the force that is going to just fix everything. We individually are the force that is supposed to make all of our lives and all of the people's lives around us in a good way, you know, in a way that they don't have to worry about where their food's coming from, in a way that they don't have to worry about whether or not they're going to be able to get to where they need to be in order to do their job, or whatever thing it is, whether they're going to have childcare. You find that spare time you have in your life and you go serve your friends in your community. And through doing that, you talk with them, you meet them, you look them in the eye and figure out how we together can be the change for the better in this world. I witnessed amazing things. One of the things that I've witnessed while I was there, some of the things that I witnessed while I was there were very scary things. There are youth, no older than me, some younger than me, that have been on the front lines, and they are in catatonic shock everywhere they go because they've been maced and beaten and shot at by police officers. And they went out there and they were just people like you and me. They have a different background than myself personally. They were on this soil, on this land far before my culture was. And they were just living in a good way. They had the entire country permacultured. And now they're still trying to stand up to the toxins that are going through. And the colonists, the colonizers are just putting through the pipelines and putting up the fences. And they're standing in a good way against it. And it's beautiful. It's very peaceful. It's the only aggressors that are out there are the police and the saboteurs that go behind lines. There's been multiple instances of DAPL employees being caught raising negativity in the prayer camps. There was one that was very well media covered, that was the gentleman that threw the Molotov cocktails and then had a gun behind lines, and then some water protectors saw that he wasn't there to be in a good way, and they followed him, and he ended up standing in the river, waist deep, pointing a gun at people. And there are people there trained in peaceful resolution, and they walked up and they talked him down from this point he was at where he was ready to shoot people. They talked him down into giving them his gun, and that was resolved in a peaceful way. And that in itself is a heart of the message of why we're there, because everything needs to end in a good way, because there has been 500 years of genocide perpetuated on this culture, and the people there are so strong. They're standing up and they're saying you don't stop 500 years of genocide by perpetuating genocide. They're there to understand and to forgive, but to be heard. They're not there to be told that their feelings are invalid. They're there to talk through it, and it's very painful. I had lots of people who didn't know me. I had just come there, and I'd come there in the best way I could, and I was serving in the kitchen, and I was there to help build greenhouses and help winterize. And I had these people who didn't know me and had all this pain backed up. They came up and they told me the things that I was there to offer were my white privilege, and I didn't have a right to say what could be done and what should be done. I was just there to do whatever the indigenous say. And I understand that center of pain. There's a center of pain there. They are literally having their grandparents' graves dug up and desecrated in front of them for oil. And I understand where that hate comes from. But I listen to these people and I talk to these people, and I made several of these people understand that I was there to do what I could in the best way that I could. And I had ladies that were talking to me like I was an ignorant person with no understanding of a way to live in a good way with the world, realize that that's not true, and that we're all humans and we all came from the earth, and we all, if we listen, know how to take care of the earth. So there's lots of things that I'd like to talk about. Really, my friends keep prompting me to talk about donations, but donations aren't what they need. What needs to happen is there needs to be groups of people going out and tearing out invasive species of plants and tearing out invasive species of grass, taking all the European grass and disposing of it, turning into compost, and planting the indigenous, the native grasses. Crabgrass, you know, that coarse tall grass that grows this tall and nobody wants in their yard because you have to mow it every time it rains. That grass is in a good way. That grass will produce the organic matter necessary to make soil, to restore the soil, which is a huge part of what needs to happen. So now I'd like to talk about an experience that I had the first time I went. And this experience was the first action I went to. It was a prayer action. It was on a bridge in Bismarck. And we all got there, and we started to walk across this bridge. We each had some tobacco in our hand. Our left hand, we were praying with it. And when we were praying, we were holding a space for the world to become a better place. And we got to the middle of this bridge, and we're doing this water prayer. And this Lakota gentleman stands up to speak, to pray. And when he started talking, you know, I can't understand Lakota. I wasn't raised in a way to be able to understand that language yet. But it didn't matter, because when he started talking, all the sound that I could hear faded out. All the crowd around me faded out. All the traffic behind me faded out. All I could hear was the sound of nature.
Hi, my name's Naomi. Not a lot of guys know me. I haven't really been super active in the community activism groups a lot. I did a lot more when I was out in Vermont. But I just wanted to say, I have to get going and go to work, but thank you all for coming. And it's really awesome to see the support. And also, some things that you can do is just to get active. You know what I mean? I used to be a really huge armchair activist, but there's nothing wrong with it, you know? Do research, post articles, engage in conversations online. A lot of people have no idea what's going on. I was leaving the house, you know, and my friend was like, oh, I thought they stopped the pipeline, you know? So a lot of people really don't know what's going on. So just, even if all you can do is click buttons at home and just send out links and send out information and, you know, tell people what's going on, because we all know we can't rely on the mainstream media to report on this. You know, it's always going to be what, you know, the people who have them in their pockets want them to say, but you have the power to put truth out into the world, your truth. You have the power to put out good vibes. You know, it doesn't matter what you believe. There's people standing together with Standing Rock from all faiths and from no faith. And I think that's beautiful. And I think that a lot of this that's going on, I think that the world is seeing birth pains. You know, and out of this is going to come something beautiful. You know, we're finding this unity. Like, look at all of us. We're a beautiful rainbow of people here today, and I think that's wonderful. And I just, you know, don't be disheartened if, you know, it seems like nothing's getting better, because, you know, nothing good was won that was not hard fought. And so, yeah, power to the people.
The thing you said about changing the name of the city away from Fort Wayne, Indiana, a name glorifying a gentleman that literally perpetuated genocide on an entire culture of people, really struck home to me. Because the original name of this entire area was Kikianga. And Kikianga means blackberry bush. It wasn't named for the name of a place. It was the name of the type of permaculture that this area was, because this country was permacultured from coast to coast.
That's the one I know really well.